Welcome to the Rural Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Larson. Today we're with Tammy Pate of Ryegate, Montana, creator of Art of the Cowgirl. Art of the Cowgirl is a gathering to celebrate cowgirls and their contributions to Western lifestyle and culture, and to raise funds to support up-and-coming artists to expand their knowledge and skills. Tammy shares about growing up in the rodeo world and the inspiration behind Art of the Cowgirl. We also talk about overcoming fear, the important role of mentorship, and preserving the Western way of life. So here we go with Tammy Pate. All right, well, we're here today with Tammy Pate of Art of the Cowgirl, based out of Ryegate, Montana. Tammy, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell us about you. You're from Montana, right?
Yes, ma'am. I was born and raised in Montana. My grandparents on both sides were ranching families from this small area, Ryegate, Montana, which is not far from Billings, and then moved to Helena, when I was in middle school and graduated high school, but always grew up, rodeoing and in Montana.
I love it. So has art always been a big part of your life? I know it is now.
Yes, absolutely. So my grandmother, Betty Kunish, who is my mentor, she will be 99 years old this December. She was an amazing artist, seamstress, cook. She trained horses and ran their family's ranch. And she just really inspired me and taught me really everything I know. And my mother also was a very wonderful seamstress. She wasn't as much into art as my grandma was, but yes, I had really strong female role models. And then, of course, my dad, I'm the oldest of three girls, and he taught us everything about horsemanship and riding and rodeo.
I love that. So you are a cowgirl, a bootmaker, a horsemanship clinician, and a yoga instructor. And I'm sure the list goes on, right? But you have a lot going on, a lot of fun things.
I do. So I grew up rodeoing. My dad was a bulldogger. I rode on my grandparents' ranch, and my grandparents never rodeoed, but they loved rodeo and always really made it available for us and helped us with really good horses. And so I had a lot of success growing up in the rodeo world. And then I married my husband, Kurt, and he was a rodeo announcer and a bareback rider. And we went to work on ranches, and he is just passionate about horsemanship. And so we were fortunate enough to be good friends with Buck Brannaman. And when the Horse Whisperer movie was being filmed, Kurt, my husband, was actually hired as a technical advisor. And that experience just really changed our life. At the time, we were working on a ranch, and Kurt was riding outside horses. We had two small children, and I was working from home. And it was at that time I actually learned to build custom cowboy boots. And so we didn't even know that you could be a horsemanship clinician. We didn't know that was a job. And so things just evolved, and, Kurt had an amazing skill starting colts and with horsemanship, and we ranch roped. And so life just kind of took us where we were meant to be, I guess.
That's so exciting. Well, when did the idea for Art of the Cowgirl come about?
I really have been dreaming about it probably for 10 years. But when I really think about it, it probably started back when my grandmother was teaching me a skill. And then when Mike Ryan from Ryan's Boot Shop in Helena, Montana, mentored me, I went in, I was sewing. I was already a very good seamstress. And I was redoing old wagon wheel furniture. A friend of mine, Kim Davidson, we were going to old antique shows and repurposing old furniture. but my sewing machine broke down. So I went in and to Mike's boot shop in Helena, and he let me work and use his sewing machine. And when I was done, he was like, I'm 5 years behind boot orders. Do you want to learn to build boots? So he saw something in me and he invested in my talent. And literally, I got to practice. I built my husband a pair of boots, and I built my husband a pair of boots, and I built myself a pair. And the next pair were for a client. And so that experience, of being a mentor and giving and sharing a trade in the Western world was very important to me. And then our years of being on the road and doing horsemanship clinics, and my husband worked for AQHA and we were able to go do this event called Quarterfest, where you could come and learn from all kinds of different clinicians. And so that was an inspiration for Art of the Cowgirl. So fast forward, for whatever reason, Kurt and I have been very blessed in our life to have these amazing opportunities present themselves. And I got to thinking, I really wanted to give back to the industry and back and really promote women in the industry. So it just started percolating, and I would come up with ideas, and then there would be something that was like, oh, this isn't the time. And at the time we were doing a lot of horse expos, and so I felt comfortable with the idea of having the public come to this event, but I wanted to incorporate art. So it took a while for me to actually get the confidence to just say, I'm going to do it, because it's a huge undertaking.
Oh, I can't even imagine. So a lot of you are probably familiar with Art of the Cowgirl, but if you aren't, this is an incredible event. It has a lot of aspects to it. So many great things. So Tammy, describe for us what this all involves, what it's all about.
Well, the root of Art of the Cowgirl is our fellowship program. So the whole reason for the public event is to showcase women artisans and horsewomen and give them a platform to share their trades. And through this public event, we have an art auction that funds our fellowship program. So we have our masters, like Nancy Martini, who's our saddle making master. So she has agreed to provide a fellowship. So she donated a saddle. We sell the art at the auction, and then we use those proceeds to pay her to teach and to pay all of the expenses for a fellowship recipient to come and learn this trade with Nancy. So in 2 years, we've funded 12 fully funded fellowships that I'm very proud of. So that's what Art of the Cowgirl is about. And so the event is just showcasing all of these amazing women. So we have horsemanship demonstrations, we have our artist and maker demonstrations, and then we have competitions. So my daughter produces an all-women's ranch rodeo and a world's greatest horsewoman competition. And we have a horse sale. And this year we have a cow dog rodeo and a cow dog sale. And yeah, so it's 5 days of competition, of demonstrations, of fellowship, of people. We have influential women's panels. So amazing women in the ag industry, in business, sharing, how they got where they are. So my heart for Art of the Cowgirl was to have a place where people come together to lift one another up. And for someone like Tony K. Tolley, who was our first saddle making recipient, she lives in Encampment, Wyoming. And if you know where that is, it's in the middle of nowhere. So I was, how does she meet people like Robin Rich with Wrangler? So Art of the Cowgirl provides that place for people to come and network. The wonderful thing about the event is it has brought so many amazing women together that really complement and support one another. And we all have our strengths, and that's what I focus on, each person and their role. And I think we all work so well together and complement one another.
So this January will be your third year, your third event. How has
Yes.
it evolved over the years? And what can we look forward to at your show coming up in January?
So in the first year, between our first and second event, our attendance doubled. And
Wow.
already we outgrew our original venue, which was the Corona Ranch in Levine, Arizona, which I loved because it's just the venue is so beautiful, and it was a Spanish architecture. But, I'm proud to say that we outgrew it.
Yes.
So this year we are in Queen Creek, Arizona at Horseshoe Park. And there are 4 arenas that will be going on all at one time. We have a Prefert Wellness Arena. We have our stage where our master artists and influential women panels will be. We have music. We have just on the hour, every hour for 5 days, something going on.
So fun. So you really have kind of set yourself apart in a way from other Western art shows by just having a lot of unique things.
Yes, and this year we added more workshops. So last year we had a handful of hands-on workshops. So come and learn from Amy Raymond, our master silversmith, how to carve, and to learn from Amy Raymond, our silversmith, silversmithing. We have leatherworking workshops. We have horsemanship workshops. We have a cow dog workshop. So not only can you come and be a spectator, but you can come and participate in these workshops on Wednesday and Thursday.
So good. All right. Well, due to the size of the event, this is not something that you can just manage by yourself. I'm sure it takes a village, right? So what role does your team play in all of this?
Oh, so it really does take an amazing team to put Are the Cowgirl on. So Jamie Stoltzfus is my right hand, and she manages our fellowship and our sponsorship. My daughter Mesa Pate manages the Women's Ranch Rodeo, the World's Greatest Horsewoman, and the horse sale. And her friend Sierra Brown helps her do all of that. And then Marilyn Calloway from Alberta manages our whole trade show. And my cousin Kim Williams manages Art of the Cowgirl merchandise, as well as amazing volunteers during the event. It's just overwhelming. The CSU equestrian team comes and volunteers. And then, of course, we have at the event other people that come in for the week. My dear friend Amber Smuts helps clerk our horse sale and manages all of the payout for our ranch rodeo and our World's Greatest.
I'm sure your family has a big role in all of this too.
Yes, they do. So my whole family participates. My husband Kurt helps, on the back end, and he really makes sure at the event everything is going smoothly. And then he's our auctioneer and for our horse sale. And then my daughter Mesa produces the Women's Ranch Rodeo, our World's Greatest Horsewoman, and our Elite Horse Sale. And my son Ryle comes and he participates in, last year he helped in our colt starting demonstrations. And so, yes, it's a family affair for sure.
That's great. What have been some of your greatest learning experiences through this process?
Oh my gosh. I think the biggest thing I've learned is to trust.
Yeah.
Just to trust that if you work hard and you believe in it, it will happen. And there've been, times that I've really had fear, like fear of, what if no one comes, or fear of financial failure, but I've just really learned that people really honor and cherish our Western traditions and trades, and they really want to support it.
Yeah. And I love your focus on the mentorship part too. why is it important that we have mentors and that we be mentors, right?
Well, for me personally, I think it's so important to be a mentor because really, at the end of the day, that's what you leave behind. And it's important for someone who maybe not have the financial resources or really the opportunities to have a mentor to empower them. And I think that that's the piece that I love the most. Is the hardest part of all of this has been we have had so many people apply for the fellowships. It's so hard choosing.
Yeah, I bet.
There's so many people out there so deserving. So that, my dream would be that our nonprofit and our fellowship program would grow so that we could actually do more than just one fellowship, per trade. But that'll happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you have for people who have a passion and a dream in their heart like you did for Art of the Cowgirl, who maybe need a little push to go for it?
My advice would be just do it.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Don't take no for an answer. There's always, if there's a will, there's a way to get it done. And accept help. There are people out there who will believe in you. And I think the hardest thing for especially women to do is accept help because they want to be the helper. So, I have found that with Art of the Cowgirl, there are so many people who either have donated financially, who have been volunteers, who just truly in their heart want to see it succeed and help people. So, but the biggest piece of advice is just do it.
Yeah. That's probably the most common piece of advice I get from every person I interview. So I love that. What excites you most about the future of rural America?
Well, we're talking today and the presidential election hasn't even, well, I haven't had the TV on all day, so I don't know if it's been called but the world where we are in this day and age, it is so important that we embrace agriculture and the rural lifestyle. And I'm not getting political here, but people in big cities that are voting a certain way, they have no idea sometimes what is really happening on the land to produce products that they need to survive, which food. There's an art to raising livestock for human consumption. And it's been my husband's passion and our passion to share that message that, the United States produces the safest, best quality animal protein in the world, bar none. And we produce the best crops and really the best products. So I think it's very important for us. And I think women, and especially the young women right now, I see coming up with such strong voices and such passionate stories. People want to connect. And I think the pasture to table movement is only going to get stronger. And, they want to know where their food is coming from. And it's your generation. It's the young ranchers and ranch women who are sharing these stories that are going to save our industry, I believe.
Yeah. And I also think it's about preserving a way of life that we have in rural America.
Yes. And not only just the day-to-day, working on a ranch or farm, but also how we're raising our children.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be a working stay-at-home mom. And to me, that's a very, very strong woman to be able to manage her home and still, like these women who were funding these fellowships, they're staying at home, but they're building saddles, or they're a silversmith, or they're a fine artist, and they're contributing to their financial success of their family, but they're also there 7 days a week and feeding their kids 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
So I do. I think that maybe that's kind of what's been lost in our country is, family units staying home and working together.
Yeah. And I think we can't talk about the future of rural America without talking about the future of the Western world and why it's important to preserve those traditions as well.
Yes, absolutely. There's a reason, a saddle is made the way it's made. And in our demonstrations at Art of the Cowgirl, what's important to me is for those artists to first tell the story of functionality. A good saddle, it doesn't matter if a saddle is beautiful. If it sores a horse, it's no good.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost is functionality. What makes, a bosal? What makes a saddle work? What makes a bit work? And then what I love is then the artist shares what makes it uniquely their own art. That's where the beauty comes in. But first and foremost, it's important to learn the trade and how to build something that works and, hand that down.
Absolutely. And I love that you're just providing a way to preserve those trades and to continue those traditions on. And what an incredible opportunity for those people who are in your fellowship program that you're giving them. So that's a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And one of the things that we see in our fellowship applications is so many people, wanting to participate in the fellowship program, but then are wanting to carry that on and pass it on. So that's exciting,
Yeah.
and that's what we look for in our recipient is not only someone who's going to make it their career, but also someone who has in their heart to share with others.
So good. So good. Well, Art of the Cowgirl is happening January 13th through 17th at Horseshoe Park in Queen Creek, Arizona. That's in the Phoenix area. I'm going to be there, so I hope you guys, if you aren't already planning to be there, will go get your tickets. Tammy, how do people get tickets and sign up for events?
Yes, so you can go to artofthecowgirl.com, and there's everything about the event there. There are ticket sales, there's host hotels, the schedule, information on the horse sale, just everything you need to know there. Or you can also follow us on social media, artofthecowgirl.com, and on Instagram. And I would really invite you and encourage you to come and experience the energy of the event. And if there's one thing that I've heard over and over, and I'm probably most proud of, is that people say they've never been to an event that has been so inspiring and so positive. And that's really been my dream.
Well, I can't wait to meet you in person in January and come to your event. It sounds amazing. So, Tammy, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Well, thank you. And I can't wait to see you too.
Well, I really love what Tammy is doing with Art of the Cowgirl, and that the heart of this event is to give back and to lift one another up. I'm so excited to be at the event this year, and I hope to see you there too. Mark your calendars for January 13th through 17th, 2021 at Horseshoe Park in Queen Creek, Arizona, and be sure to check out the show notes where you'll find links to buy tickets and learn more about everything going on at the event. I trust you're super inspired from today's episode and probably have a handful of people you know that would love to hear it. So go ahead and text them the link and leave us a kind review while you're at it so we can keep spreading the Rural Revival message far and wide. And stay tuned in with us on Instagram and Facebook at Rural Revival Co. to keep updated on this podcast and all things Rural Revival related. We'll catch you next time on the Rural Revival podcast. Have a great day, everybody.